We now come to Tuesday, March 31st, AD 33. You'll remember on Palm Sunday, Jesus had made his triumphal entry into Jerusalem. And then on Monday, he'd made quite the scene, declaring the temple to be not a house of prayer, as it was intended, but rather a den of thieves. All of this combined to put Jesus on an inevitable collision course with the Jewish authorities, and he spends all of Tuesday interacting with them, meeting their objections, raising questions of his own. But what exactly made the Jewish leaders so mad? What exactly were their objections against Jesus? Why precisely was he viewed as such a threat? And at this point in time, before Calvary, what were their options and what was their strategy?
At every moment during Passion Week, the leaders were watching Jesus, but they were watching him in order to show him to be wrong. To the Pharisees, Jesus was still the kid from Nazareth, who was to them still a young man. And here was this young man making these absolute claims, and he had never been trained. So Jesus was an uneducated Jewish upstart kid who threatened everything that they knew.
When Jesus engineered the house cleaning of the temple, the decommercialization of the temple on Monday, this, of course, was hailed by his Passover pilgrim followers and others. They thought it was great that he had broken the monopoly, at least for one morning or afternoon. Now, this, therefore, put the authorities in something of a panic. Now they somehow have to drive a wedge between Jesus and his followers. Because they really want to get rid of this troublemaker, now also for economic reasons. So they're trying to get Jesus to misspeak himself. And the questions are baited. They can't be answered, really. They're just like the old, can God make a rock so big that he can't lift it himself? See, they're unanswerable, self-defeating questions. And yet, it turns out that Jesus answers everyone correctly.
The Jews had some sort of a semi-autonomous status with regard to their internal political and religious affairs. And so as long as things were calm and peaceful, the Romans allowed the Jews a certain amount of autonomy. But at the same point, the Jewish leaders are beginning to feel that there's something that ought to be done in order for things not to spin out of control with regard to the Roman overlords.
Their entire goal was to find a way to arrest Jesus by stealth. That's why they then had to turn to Judas.